you like to make $170,000? Recently in Syracuse, a Jersey cow was sold for just that much. Not all are going to bring that much, but they do have the potential. In my previous speech, I told you that I showed Jersey cows when I was in high school. In this speech, I'm going to go a little bit more in detail with that. I'm going to tell you exactly how to develop a show cow that will have the potential to bring that amount at a sale. In order to produce that ideal cow, you need to start with the basics. You need to know your cow. You need to know their history, characteristics, how to choose one, how to choose a winner out of a herd, and also how to care for your cow and preparing for a show. When showing livestock, judges are going to ask you questions. Those questions can range from where your cow originated, how much they weigh, and where a certain body part is located. And we're going to start with the history. You can visit the website www.ansi.okstate.edu to learn a little bit more about the Jersey cow. The Jersey cow originated in an island near France called the Jersey Island. They came in America in the 1850s. They're typically a reddish-brown cow with accented in black, and they can have spots as well. They're well known for their docility and outstanding milk and butter fat production. They have the richest milk out of any of the other dairy breeds, and they generally weigh about 900 pounds. They produce 13 times their body weight. They are a smaller cow, so they eat less. And the fact that they produce more milk for their body weight than any of the other breeds really makes them profitable. I'm not going to talk that much about the Jersey Bull, and that's just because you can't show them. And from experience, I can tell you that they're the meanest and most aggressive livestock to have. Their tempers are exactly opposite from the cows. It's not wise to trust any bull, especially a Jersey bull, once they reach about 6 months of age. Even then, you shouldn't trust any of your livestock because even if it's not intentional, they can still hurt you. So you should always be on your P's and Q's and be aware of your surroundings when around livestock. In order to show a cow, you're obviously going to need one. So in purchasing, you need to know exactly what you're looking for. And judges use the unified scorecard to judge, and you can find that at www.holsteinfoundation.org. That unified scorecard is broken up into 4 parts. You have the udder, the rear feet and legs, the frame, and dairy strength. The udder makes up 40% of the scorecard. You need to make sure that they have a good fore and rear udder attachment. And a cow has 4 quarters to the udder, so you need to make sure that the teeth are placed evenly on each quarter. And you also need to make sure that the udder doesn't go below the hock, which is this area right here. And you can see hers goes well above that. You also need to the rear feet and legs is 20% of the scorecard. You need to make sure that their legs are squarely placed and that their legs are straight and not bowed out anywhere. Dairy strength makes up 25% of the scorecard. A dairy cow is a feminine cow, so you need to make sure that they accentuate that as well as their angularity. You need to make sure that they're deep in the barrel, which is the stomach area right here. The frame makes up 15%, and that is the skeletal part of your cow. You need to make sure that their top line is straight across, and you need to make sure that their body parts are properly aligned with no obvious deformities. Now that you've selected and purchased your cow, you can go through the registration and transferring process, and you can do that by going to the website www.usjersey.com. Next, we're going to talk about caring for your animal. The obvious 2 things are food and water. You need to make sure that your cow has plenty of both because they are a grazer, so they eat 24/7. Next, you have vaccinations. You need to make sure that they're caught up on all vaccinations, including deworming and tetanus. And with a dairy cow, you have to go that extra mile and give them calcium supplements. And that's to prevent them from getting milk fever, which is a very common fatal disease in the dairy herds. And then last, you have shelter. This is not mandatory, it's more optional, but I choose to give mine shelter just to keep them out of bad weather or give them a little shade during the summertime. Lastly, preparing for a show can be pretty stressful, So you need to make sure that your cow is halter broke several months before the show. For every show, you have to clip the hair on your cow. I typically do this about 5 days to a week before the show starts. Before clipping, you need to bathe and dry your cow, and this is to preserve clipper blades. After they're dry, you clip them head to toe, except for that top line. About 1.5 inches of that, you leave it. So it's show day. You need to get to the barn several hours before the show starts, and this is to give yourself some time to prepare and get your cow well groomed, as well as getting yourself ready. So once again, we're going to start by bathing and drying our cow. And after that, remember, like I said, we leave that 1.5 inches of top line on your cow. So now we're going to work on standing that hair up by using a comb and some hairspray. After you have that done, you can start on the tail. You need to comb the switch out, and you need to make it look as bell-shaped as possible. So if you need to tease it, that's fine. And then last but not least, the show halter. Once you have your cow dressed and you have the show halter on, you can tie her up and then start working on yourself. You need to be dressed in all white, a white shirt, and white pants. So you now know what it takes to produce the ideal Jersey cow. From learning history and characteristics, to picking out the winner amongst a herd, to caring for your animal and preparing for the show. Even though showing livestock can be a pain, it is all worth it in the end. Once you get that blue ribbon and your check in the mail, you love it more and more each time. So for more information, go to www.thecattlesite.com.